All right, so today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I want to go into mindset. I want to talk about four different quotes. And as I go through each one, I'm just going to kind of go into an open dialogue about it. And the hope is that it's a source of support for you. It's something that you're able to utilize in your life. And this is new. Never done this before in this fashion. Usually I have things a little more structured out, and then we focus on one particular area. For today, let's see how it goes, and I'd love to hear from you as far as your feedback. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want me to continue to do videos in this fashion as well, to support you in your journey of healing, growing, becoming your best version. As I almost knocked this mic out in front of me. So the first one is, we are lost in the journey of life when our drive is to prove ourselves to others. So I want you to think about that, right? We are lost in our journey of life when our drive is to prove ourselves to others. And there's these two really important areas, I think, being said there. One is that we are all in this journey of life. And where is your journey taking you? Is your journey taking you through fatherhood, through parenthood? Is it to achieve, a certain job or certain status in life? Is it to become your best version? And then in that journey, let's just imagine like this is yellow brick road from the Wizard of Oz, right? So there's a yellow brick road that takes Dorothy all the way to the Wizard of Oz. And we all have our road, our path in life. And we want to take that journey. And the journey is built on our values, our purpose of life. When we get off of that pathway, we often get off of it because we're lured by something, right? And in here it goes, we are lost in the journey of life when our drive is to prove ourselves to others. So if I'm on this journey, right, and I'm on this yellow brick road, and each stone on there, right, each stone, each brick is the written words of my values, my purpose. So it just really connects to who I am as a person. All of me wants to stay on there, to remain on this path all the way till I get to the Wizard of Oz, right? And then one day I decide to steer away from that path. And I tend to steer away from it because I want to prove myself to somebody else, right? And it could be that somebody else could be a relationship with a parent. Maybe I have a parent that I feel that I always have to be something for them that I don't want to be. But I have to be that person for them, because if not, they will not provide me with love. And this is just one example of many. Right? So in this example, is this parent, and I have to show up for them in a way that doesn't connect to those bricks on that road. They don't connect to my values. I have to be someone else. And then I do it, and I know that it brings me hurt and it brings me pain. But I do it because there's just part of me, right? This is part of me, like this inner child, where I want to be loved. I want to be supported. I want my parent to love me. And then I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to sacrifice whatever. Pain, hurt, the tears in my eyes as they fall down, all of it I'm willing to sacrifice. So then every so often I steer out of my yellow brick road. And then when I do that, I find myself thinking these words: we are lost in the journey of life when our drive is to prove ourselves to others. So in that moment when I steered away, I am losing myself, within that relationship there, that dynamic that I shared with you. And for you, it may be something a little bit different. For you, it may be that you find yourself lost in your journey of life when your drive is to prove yourself to who? And I want you to think about that. Maybe write it down. Who do I try to prove myself to? Is it to my partner? Is it to someone else? And then when you're trying to prove who you are you doing it in a way that doesn't connect to who you are? And I think having like this visualization where you're able to just picture this road, and it's paved with these bricks. And then on the brick, you get your pencil or your pen, and you write down your values: kindness, empathy, art, love, creativity. You write all these values. Now you write your purpose of life. And when you look at it, it makes you smile because it's you. It's you at your most genuine, authentic, and pure level. And what you desire most is you desire others to love you for how you see yourself. And every so often in life, we may find ourselves steering away from our own path because we're trying to prove ourselves to someone else. We're trying to, in a way, we are disconnecting from who we are. And when we disconnect from who we are, it creates a sense of loss. As a clinician, I hear this from many different individuals. Some may share with me that they've entered an intimate relationship and then they find themselves in that intimate relationship 5, 10, 20 years later. And then they'll say, I feel lost. I don't know who I am. So then we kind of dig into that, and then we start to learn and understand that at some point this individual had their yellow brick path. Right? They had that journey paved out, their values, their purpose, all of those things. And it connected well with their partner. But as things went forward, maybe they just went the wrong direction. And because of that, the person started to steer away from that path. And they found themselves in that position where, again, they highlighted those words. They felt lost in that journey of life because they're trying to prove themselves as, they're trying to prove ourselves to others or themselves to others. So that's the first one. That's the first one of mindset I wanted to share with you. The second one, the mind will wander, the legs will walk. It's irrational to think that we will not take a basic thought and spin it to a flight of worry. And this one made me laugh because on a very rational perspective, logical perspective, it makes sense. You see yourself walking, and then you look down and you go, my legs are walking. So that's probably what they're meant to do, right? And there's times, even as I'm doing this video, where I'm here communicating with you, and then my mind will want to wander towards something. It could be like right now, as I'm doing this video, my phone just cut off. Not like entirely off, but the screen went black. So my mind wandered because it got a little bit worried. I need to read what's on here. At some point, I'm gonna have to bring it back up and make sure that I can see it in front of me. So our mind wanders, and in our legs walk, right? And it's irrational for us to think that we will not take a basic thought and spin it to a flight of ideas or to a flight of worry, I'm sorry. So once more, the mind will wander, the legs will walk. It's irrational to think that we will not take a basic thought and spin it to a flight of ideas, a flight of worry. Why do I keep on saying ideas? To a flight of worry. So that's where, I think that's where when we struggle with, let's kind of go back there. That's where when we have a worry, and we notice that we're worried about something. It could be that we're 15 and we've got a test coming up, and we go, man, I'm worried I'm not going to pass this test. And then next thing you know, you go, I'm worried that if I don't pass it, my parents are going to kill me. And then after that, you go, I'm worried that if I don't pass it, my parents are going to throw me out of the house. I'm going to be homeless. I'm never going to have a job. I'm going to have to beg for food, beg for money. And something happened there, right? The mind wandered to a worry in the future, right? And one worry grew to another worry, and then it became a flight of worries. As adults, we have this too from time to time. You're working diligently in your job, and you want that promotion, you don't get that promotion. You apply for that job, you don't get that job. So then you think to yourself, shit, I'm stuck here. How am I going to feed my family? How am I going to be able to afford to take us on vacations? We're never going to get to go anywhere. My partner's going to divorce me. I'm a failure. I'm never getting anywhere in life. My parents were right about me. Everyone was right about me. I don't even know why I try. There's no point of applying for new jobs. I'm not going to get those. So then there, right in that example, we notice how the mind wandered, right? Just like the legs walk and just like the hands move, right? They move up and down. I like going to the beach and sitting, sometimes with a drink, sometimes without a drink, and watching the waves. And without a doubt, they always come in. And without a doubt, there's my low tide and high tide. The sun will rise, the sun will fall or set. And and again, the waves always keep coming. They never really stop, do they? So what happens when we accept that? If it's you and I sitting at the beach, what happens that moment that we accept that the waves will continue to come in, that the sun will rise, the sun will set? Sometimes when things are, I guess the word is simple. May not be the best word here, but we'll use it. Sometimes when things are simple like that, when we look at the gifts of life, the sun rising, the sun setting, the waves coming in, we go, I get that. I understand that the waves will come in and the waves will go out. And they'll continue to do that. I understand that the sun will go up and the sun will go down. Yet something happens, something really profound within us, like this fight that we don't want to agree to. We don't want to become attached to. We refuse to agree. We refuse to accept that the mind will wander, that one worry will go to another worry and will go to another worry. And I think if we're able to find calmness during chaos, if we're able to find calmness during the chaos of our mind through acceptance, it could leave us in that position of sitting at the beach watching the waves coming in and out and knowing that in that moment we are okay. That in the moment that we do have, that in the moment of reality, the present moment, that we're okay. And what our mind is doing is our mind is wandering into the future that is yet to happen. Just like our mind will at times wander into the past. And it's up to us to acknowledge. And this is where it gets really challenging, because it is challenging. I know it's challenging for me. And it's challenging for so many individuals that I work with. It is very, very challenging. Because sometimes it's not just as simple as acceptance. It's, I think it's more of a practice. I read somewhere you have to practice like 10,000 hours before you become a master of something. And I can only imagine, for me as someone that struggles with anxiety, how many hours I've practiced at being anxious. How many hours I've practiced at not liking that my mind wanders. How many hours as a kid, taking a test and the thoughts that would run through my mind would be, I'm not going to pass this test. Because I would be that kid that would try to take the test and then go, what's that on the wall? Well, shit, I'm supposed to be focusing on this test. And then I wouldn't do well. And then that would lead to a whole different, whole cycle just being repeated. And then the next time a new test came up, that past experience will live in the present experience. And then my mind will wander into the worry of the future. So it is a practice, and it does take time. It's not something, I do not think it's something that right away we're going to just snap and we're going to go, oh, the legs will wander. Oh, the legs will walk. The mind will wander. Right? I think if we do give ourselves that space and love and compassion, and we be our best friend, and we're there for ourselves, then over time, I think we can get a little bit better when it comes to acknowledging that the mind will wander and worries will grow into a flight of worries. And even if it does that, just like even if our legs continue to go forward, we're going to be okay. So that's the second one. And just like the first one, my phone decided to cut off on me. So before I do the last one, we get a quick water break. All right. So we may do 4. We'll see how much energy I have. Third one. Here we go. Be your best friend. It'll be the fairy dust you need to help you navigate the ups and downs of life. This one I like a lot. I find that, before we do that, let's just repeat that one more time. Be your best friend. It'll be the fairy dust you need to help you navigate the ups and downs of life. You know, my daughter, she's 7, and she loves glitter. She loves she loves the movie Peter Pan with Tinkerbell, and and my son, he likes the movie too. And then they'll go, I wish we had some fairy dust. I would just put it on me, and it will fly. And if you've seen Peter Pan, and if you haven't, then there's this fairy, Tinkerbell, I think is her name, and I'm assuming her power. So her power seems like if you shake her, or if she shakes herself, this dust comes out, and it's like gold and shiny. It's really beautiful in the movie, and it falls on different characters like Peter Pan, and then he learns how to fly. So I think that's what helps him fly. Hopefully, I'm not butchering the movie, but at least that's how I remember it. And kind of going back, right? So my daughter, she gets so excited when it comes to glitter, and it just lights her up. So that's what led to me thinking about that fairy dust, kind of connecting those two things there, and then digging into a little bit more. I think about who we would give that fairy dust to. So for her, we were hanging out, and she wanted to give me some fairy dust, so that made me feel really good. And she gave some to her brother, and it made me feel good too as her dad. And then I asked myself, with this fairy dust, who would I give it to? And for you, who would you give your fairy dust to? Would you sprinkle some on yourself, or would you sprinkle some on somebody else? And when I think about that, usually what we do is we first think about our inner circle. Right? So most of us have like this circle. It's like a psychology theory, I think. But it's basically a circle. And then inside there's your closest people, your best friends, maybe family, people that have really held it down with you. So those are usually the individuals that you're going to first pop off and say, okay, these are the people that I want to give some of that fairy dust to. And usually we do that because we want to treat those people really good, really great. We want to be there for them. And I find that really beautiful. There's times I'll speak with different individuals, and they'll share like their friend went through something really challenging, and then they tell me all the beautiful things that they did, like they did for their friend. So if Bob is telling me the story, Bob goes, hey Juan, my friend went through some rough shit, and I was there for them. Stayed over, we just held it down, talked about it, and I'm listening, I'm taking it in. I'm just like, that's amazing. That's amazing that you treat someone like that. You give them that kindness, that unconditional positive regard and love. Yes, continue to. For me, that connected to that fairy dust. I like to connect things. So for me, that was, Bob just putting that fairy dust all over his friend and saying, you're going to be okay. And if you're not okay, then I'm here with you. I'm not going anywhere. So kind of going back to this quote, be your best friend. It'll be the fairy dust you need to help you navigate the ups and downs of life. We're all going to have ups and downs. You've probably have already had many ups and downs in life. Maybe some of those downs were so low that your thoughts became very dark, and your future was very hard to see. And maybe some of those ups were so high that you didn't want to come down, and that you thought to yourself, how did I get here? How amazing is this? So kind of knowing that you have both of these. It's part of the journey of life, right? That we have our ups and we have our downs. And through it, I think we need a best friend. A best friend that's always there with a bottle of fairy dust. And that fairy dust, it's got some magic stuff in it, right? So like in the movie Peter Pan, you could fly. I'd love to fly. I'd fly like a bird everywhere. Hopefully there's no duck season going on. but I would just fly and I would love that. Now, in your fairy dust, what's in it? What do you give yourself during the ups and downs? How are you your best friend? And that's where I think a lot of us have the skill in us. You know, I've met so many individuals that have shared with me how they have been there for other people, how they have opened up their capsule, you know, of fairy dust, and they've given their friends love, support, words of kindness, a place to stay at, money when they didn't have money. They had a friend that maybe was talking really bad about themselves, and they were there to hear and to use positive words to support them, to help them heal and recover, to be a best friend. All of us have this, not like literally, this is a case for iPhones, but this more is our fairy dust box, right? All of us have this fairy box, and it's inside of it. It's what we use to be a best friend, to support our best friends during the ups and downs of life. And then I shared with you earlier that so many of us have already done this. So many of us have had experiences. I want you to think about your experiences. Think about the times that you've been there for other people, your best friends. What did you do? What did you give them out of here? It could be that you were a listening ear. They said, hey, I'm going through something. You text back, come over. And then you spend 2 or 3 hours listening, being there for them. So out of this came a listening ear. And with this quote, the final point that we get to, and I'll repeat it so we're on the same page: be your best friend. It'll be the fairy dust you need to help you navigate the ups and downs of life. So what I'm simply sharing with you is that I think we're able to go through life with calmness, with peace, with satisfaction, with unconditional love, unconditional positive regard, when we give ourselves the opportunity to be our best friend. When you're able to look in the mirror, you're able to hold this and think to yourself, okay, I've got this, and I am always going to be there for myself. So that means that if you get off work and you're feeling just really, really low, you think to yourself and you go, if my friend were in this exact position, what would I get out of here? I would open this up and I would give them what? And then you give yourself that. And if it's that you wake up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. and your heart's just beating, and you had this really bad nightmare about a flashback that happened earlier in your life, and you think to yourself, you don't know what to do. Why is this happening? You close your eyes and just for a moment you think to yourself, what would you say to your best friend? You would open this up, and what would you give them? How would you be there for them? And then you do that for yourself. And then you continue to do that over and over. And that's the fairy dust that allows you to be there for yourself, to be your best friend during the ups and downs of life. And let's see. I'll share one more. All right, so this one goes, if peace is what you are looking for, sorry, let me start that over. If peace is what you are searching for, then steer away from the pool of pleasing others. A life devoted to pleasing others is not a life of your own. This one I like a lot because, it connects to a really key area I think a lot of us struggle with, and it's with validation. It's wanting to please other people. So it could be that, you're at work and somebody says, hey, can you do this for me? Yes. Do you mind staying late? Yes. Do you mind taking on these extra projects? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. But in your mind, you're attacking yourself. In your mind, you're hurt. In your mind, you're yelling at yourself and thinking, why can't people see that I want to say no? Why can't people see that I'm tired? And then you think to yourself, how many times have I asked for help and no one's wanted to help me? So then you fight with yourself even more because you think to yourself, I'm helping so many people, but no one's helping me. And it's this battle of pleasing others that keeps us stuck, that keeps us away from peace. That there is one example of how we can really struggle with that pull of pleasing others. And the reason I say pull is because there's this attraction to it, almost like a fish in the water, and they see this shiny object, right? And they want to go to the shiny object. Or it's a fish in the water and they see something fall in the water. It has a ripple effect. They think, oh, a delicious bug, so they want to go towards it. And next thing they know, things go in the wrong direction. Now, for us, that pull can come like that. It could be that we want to feel loved. So we go and we spend time with people that don't treat us well. And in our mind, we think, I shouldn't be here. They don't treat me well. Why am I doing this? And then this quiet voice whispers, well, we're doing this because no one else wants to spend time with you. So then we deal with that. Of course, there's a way to heal and recover through that. But in that moment, we deal with that pull of pleasing others. So we're there because they provide us with something, and then we feel that that's what we're looking for. It could be that you're a sibling, and you have to show up for your parents in a certain way. You have to please them. And then once you do that, you get that thumbs up, that stamp of approval, the I love you, the you're doing a good job. Yet you do it, and you do it for reasons and in a way that creates hurt and creates pain. So kind of going back for a moment, I want us to think about that again. If peace is what you're searching for, then steer away from the pull of pleasing others. A life devoted to pleasing others is not a life of your own. And I want you to think about that in your life. If it's helpful, get a sheet of paper. Write down, in what ways do I please others? What have I done this week that focused on pleasing someone else where it hurt my inner peace? And as you dive in, hopefully you're able to have clarity and understanding. Once we find ourselves in a position of being able to take a deep breath, and then you think to yourself before you do something, am I doing this for me? Am I doing this in a way that connects to my core values, to who I am, to what I stand for? Am I doing this in a way that connects to my boundaries, my limits in life? Am I willing to do this? Or do I feel that I'm doing this because I am trying to please someone else? I am trying to reach validation from another person so that I can feel a certain way. And again, earlier we had some examples. Another one could be that you want to feel that you're doing a good job. So then, that could lead you to doing certain tasks for other people, or agreeing to do things that you don't want to do, don't connect to your core values, to who you are as a person, but you do them because you want to feel that blank. And in a way, it's almost like a drug. We know we shouldn't do it. We know the danger to it, the disadvantage to it, the hurt that it creates on the body. Yet there's a lure, there's a pull. And, of course, this conversation isn't as deep as addiction. But for now, we're kind of just touch on the edge of it. So you do this drug, and it provides a sense of relief, right? It provides a sense of validation, maybe. Maybe you feel good in that moment. And soon, just like if you're driving through a mist, it goes away. You can see again, right? Clear as day. And that hurt comes back up. We feel really far away from that peace that we were trying to get to. So in your life, just like in mine, something I evaluate all the time is I think to myself, am I working to please others? Is there peace in my life? So then with that, I found this quote, and I thought it really stuck out in a good way. If peace is what you're searching for, then steer away from the pull of pleasing others. A life devoted to pleasing others is not a life of your own. And that last part is not a life devoted to pleasing others is not a life of your own. And I think that's because we're focused on pleasing others. Now, at times, some individuals can get a little bit lost with this one. I shared it before, and someone goes, "Well, what about when you're helping other people? Like you're holding a door for a stranger. Is that pleasing somebody else?" And that one's a little bit different because what's happening there is this more of compassion, that's more of generosity, kindness, you willing to do something because it connects to who you are at your core value. Versus, let's say, an example of if I am trying to please someone, I'm at work and someone says, "Hey Juan, do you mind, taking on some extra tasks?" And I want them to be happy with me, even though inside I'm exhausted and I don't want to do it. And I feel it's a very unfair work environment. The work culture here is unfair. I feel that I'm not seen. So I say yes. And they go, "Great job. You're the best one here. I really appreciate it. Well, I'm heading out, going home for the weekend." And then I stay there and I keep working. And I do that because I wanted to please that person. Yet inside, there's a disconnection between the action that I did, the yes, and then who I am. Those core values, the treatment that I feel that I deserve. And when we have that disconnection, it leads to like this inner chaos, this inner hurt. We don't feel satisfied. We feel overwhelmed. We feel stressed. We don't feel that we are good. Not good as in being a good person, but good as in good health. And that's where, pleasing others, that pull of it can lead to a struggle with finding peace. So that was the last one. And before I jump off, I would love to know what you think. What did you think about the sequence, fashion of this video? It's a little bit different. Um, as a fun fact, I am a big quote person. I love quotes. I like philosophy. I'm a big nerd when it comes to reading. So I'll read sometimes too much, where it's like 5-10 books a month. But it's my fun thing to do. Um, and I wanted to show up here. I like to do these videos because I know that people may not be able to get to a counseling session, or you may do what I do, where sometimes I'll watch videos and it's about different topics, and I'm like, I'm really appreciative that person's taking time out of their life to do that. So whatever it may be, I love being here for you. I love showing up, and hopefully you're getting value out of it. Hopefully you're able to check off boxes in your life, move forward, heal, recover. There's videos on relationships, video for anxiety, for depression, for different topics. Usually I try to steer two topics. Yeah, I try to engage in topics that I feel comfortable with, versus those that are out of my scope of knowledge or expertise or practice. This one focused on mindset, right? So what I try to do is I try to just hit a quote and just talk about it openly, as if I'm there with you or having a conversation. Again, I would love to hear your feedback. Let me know what you liked about it, what stuck out to you, maybe your thoughts on certain quotes, that were mentioned here today, or some that you like in your life. As always, I would love if you were subscribe, join, share this with anybody in your area. That's an awesome way to grow the channel and to get this in front of more people. I think if we're able to get this in front of everyone, then it could be an additional resource that people have in front of them to support them in their journey of life. All right, friends, much love. Take care. Continue to shine bright in your life.